Hello, ladies and gentlemen. All right, after evaluating the film, first it was a great win at home. Great to be at home. It was a great environment. I think all the fans support, 12th man, everything was wonderful. Play a top 25 team at home to get a good win like that was great, especially on senior day. All the seniors, as they get to go out on senior day with a big-time quality win against a top 25 opponent. Great day for them, and going to miss them. Like I say, those guys have meant so much to this program. And like I say, buying in after being in another organization for 3 or 4 years and something different your senior year, that can be really tough to do. And my hat's off to those seniors for how they bought in and accepted all the coaches and our new philosophies and schemes and things we're doing, and have really been a driving force for those young guys to understand what's going on and how much those guys have meant to this program in the past and how much they're really meaning right now for the transition over. It's been huge. And those guys have done a great job, and my hat's off to them. Again, evaluating the film, I thought our team was very physical in the game. Thought we played hard. I thought we, in all three phases, did some good things. Obviously, nothing perfect. Started off great with special teams. Probably one of the best special team days been a part of. Be able to score on an opening kickoff. I've returned one, which we did this year already, but I've never had one where you kicked off on an opening kickoff and be able to create a touchdown. And great hit by Brian Johnson to strip the ball, and Larry Pryor picks up the ball, and the guys escort. They transitioned into blockers real quick, and to get a jump like that was huge. And what they did, I thought. Again, kickoff coverage was tremendous. I think the farthest they come out was a 13. The ones they did bring out, the rest of the balls were kicked out, so their starting field position was really altered. Scoring points and getting down to that really changed field position, I think, really helped as the game went on, where they were starting from and having to advance from. In that regard, our coverage teams were great. Our punt team, again, hit a great 60-yard punt and covered it with about a 2 or 3 yard return. Did a great job there. And then the other one, he hit a perfect wedge and got a little backspin and landed on the 2 and got it to the 5. And those guys now, the way guys can do that ball now, it's amazing what kickers can do and how they can, at Australian rules, and get it to die or, be really, those down kicks are a lot greater now than they've ever been in football. And did a great job, our guys covering that, so we did a great job there. And again, had a great punt return to set up, got one early and then got that punt return right before half. And when they took a knee, when they got that one pinned back on the kickoff coverage, and actually had a chance to set up a score. We missed a field goal, unfortunately. The only thing on special teams that went wrong all day. But that punt return really set up a score and gave us a shot at the end zone, and then a chance to throw or kick a field goal. Unfortunately, we didn't make it, but great job there. Kickoff, they scored. We had a great kickoff return, the one we brought out to the, I think, about 44, 45-yard line. We established and got another drive. So establishing the field position there was great. And then to be able to block an extra field goal, be able to block an extra point, and get 2 misses the other way. And I think after you get blocks, I think it does alter those kickers. They're aware of having to get the ball up or not hitting it right in that sweet spot right down the middle, and sometimes that can alter you. And I don't know if it did or not, but he did a great job, and our snaps were excellent on the day. So special teams-wise, I thought our guys were outstanding on the day. I thought defensively, gave up some stuff on the opening drive, and they got down and scored. But after that, they threw the ball well. They made some throws in holes and picked up some third downs we got to improve on. They picked up some third and longs that we got. As you look, it's just angles and drops and cutting off points and junction points and getting safeties over the top and our inside coverage inside out on some things. And there's very, very things that we can fix very well, just getting those angles right against those routes and matching them perfectly. But in that situation, I thought we did a great job in the red zone, tight zone, not giving up touchdowns, bending, forcing the field goals, and then we got some misses and blocks. So in that regard, we did well. Against the run, we were very solid against the run for the most part the whole game and what we did. And then got 2 big turnovers. Dono's interception was huge, getting out of great, especially on senior day. And then Caper Smith, they're down in the scoring zone, and him to be able to get an interception and turn that ball over was huge in that regard. So, and that we'll keep getting better in those things, and but did some good things in that. Offensively, I thought we moved the ball all day, only punted the ball twice. Ran the ball effectively, threw the ball effectively. I thought Kellen was very sharp in his run checks, getting us in now the right checks, making decisions with the ball, was accurate with the ball. Jace, we were able to create some nice plays with Jace on third down and in the red zone, some mismatches in which we thought we had. And then Travion ran the ball very well, got a lot in the fourth quarter going as we got going on. And we only had 54 plays on the day on offense because they were converting third downs, but we were very efficient. Score basically was 40 points on 54 plays. Is a very efficient day. So we ran it, had a nice job, good balance in what we did. Hit deep balls, got some nice deep ball, hit some nice overs and things down the field. And always looking to improve there. But a very solid performance against a very good opponent, and we're going to need it this week because we got to get going this week to play LSU. LSU is a great team. Obviously, they're one play away, at Florida from being a top 4 or 5 team right now. They're 7th, I think, or 8th, whatever it is. They're ranked. And typical LSU team, big physical offensive line, big tight ends, quarterback's very savvy. Moxie makes plays, understands the game. Receivers are dynamic, and backs are physical and fast. Defensively, always a great front, big 300 They go from 300 to 360 up front on that defensive line, those interior guys, very hard to move. Edge guys are dynamic. I recruited a lot of those guys when I was at Florida State. I tried to get in and recruit those guys. Defensive linebackers, as good as anybody in the country. Can run and play. Six, Phillips, all those guys are the dynamic players. And secondary is probably as good as secondary we played all year. The corners, the safeties. You're just 3 or 4 first-rounders on that defense, so they're dynamic. They punt the ball very well. Punter does a good job. Kicker's outstanding. I think he's 22 of 25 or 25 of 28, something like that on the year. That's outstanding, and a couple misses after over 50 yards. So they kick the ball well, too. So we're going to have to play a great game in all 3 phases. We're going to have to be physical. We're going to have to also play, not give up the big plays and got to create them on offense and the things we do and be substantial and be able to run the football. So it's going to be a very hard-fought, typical SEC battle, and hopefully we're ready to play and play our last regular season game and keep getting better in the things we're doing. Questions?
To the right, Gabe, and then down front, Brent.
Jimbo, you mentioned the importance of you got to be physical to beat this football team. We've seen this the last few years, and they've just been so physical against A&M. How pleased are you in that department so far leading into this?
I've been very pleased. We're still second or third, whatever it is, against a rush in the country, doing a great job of their front seven, and we're able to run the ball on offense. We're running it. Trayvon's leading the league in rushing, and it's going to be very hard and hard trudging this week, no doubt. But we've made a lot of strides in that area. Our short yardages and picking up those, and our goal lines, being able to run the ball down the goal line. And last 4 minutes of the game, the last few weeks, we've been able to do a pretty good job of that. So we're getting better in that regard, and we're going to have to be this week.
Down front, Brent.
I think you had mentioned both of your sons were born in Baton Rouge. Is that correct? And I know you have an affinity for the place. When they pursued you, was it just not the right timing at that time?
Well, we never really got to official talks and never got to the official people. And, you hear rumors from people calling and all that. So it never really got to that level. So, but it was a great place. It had great success there, and we had won a lot of games, won a national championship, and some SEC titles. So it was fun. And coached a lot of great players.
Do you have a prior relationship with Coach Orgeron?
No, just knowing from coaching, had a lot of respect for him. He was a tremendous defensive line coach. He was went against him as a head coach when he was at Ole Miss. I was at LSU. His first stint, I always did a great job on defense, and he's obviously doing a great job there at LSU. So, I always liked Ed. Fun guy to be around.
To the left, Cease, and then Alex.
Some people don't consider this a rivalry. You've been in Florida State, and some other ones your first year. So what do you feel makes a rivalry?
Well, first of all, it's history. You play for long periods of time. You're Florida States and all that type of stuff. The guys have played for a long period of time. But I think a rivalry develops just like Florida State and Clemson was not a rivalry for a big thing in the ACC, but it is now. It was when we were there because whoever won that game, and it was split the 2 years we were there. I think when teams are significant in their conferences and when they're in the local recruiting areas and the things for players and for conference status and trying to win SEC titles and national championships, I think that does after a while. And I think usually a rivalry goes when both teams win. So we need to pick up our part of it. And just like back in the day, though, it was Texas A&M who dominated LSU. If I'm not mistaken, in the 80s, they won 6 out of 7 or some crazy number like that. And LSU was really good then too. Then they quit playing, and then since they've been back, LSU's had the upper hand. So, I think both us getting on the winning track would make it a rivalry. You got to have somebody to beat you on the other side to do it. So we got our work cut out for us there. But I think the significance of it, and I think our locations, our proximities, and our relationship in the SEC, it should evolve into a very good one.
To the left, Alex, and then Ben.
Hey, Coach, right here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Quick two-parter. When you play in a secondary like LSU, how important is route running when they run that tight man coverage? And then how have you seen Jamon's presence kind of ease that group since his return?
Well, I think Jamon's the most experienced. So when you're talking about being, sometimes being athletic at wideout is tremendously important. Being technical is just as important. That's why you see guys that don't always run 4-3 can get open. You know what I'm saying? They understand leverage points. They understand break points. They understand how to pad levels. They understand how to set guys up, change speeds when they run routes. So technically, this group is going to challenge you because the secondary at LSU is very athletic, and they're very technical themselves. They play with great technique. So we're going to have to be very, even if we are athletic and feel like we're as athletic in some positions, we still doesn't mean because they're very technical. We have to be technical when you run routes. And see, technicalities, and that's where I think that's where our greatest, I've loved our toughness improvement, our competition, our physicality. We have to become a more technical, skilled team. You know what I mean? And keep getting better with our skill, getting faster, stronger, but also understanding the precise angles, drops, routes, how our foot placement is, how our pad levels are when we run routes, to trigger routes for the quarterbacks to see and know when the timing is, reading a route. And we have to be precise in that. And this group here is going to exploit that if you're not. We have to be very precise in how we do things.
Right side, Ben, and then to the left, Zach.
Jimbo, do you feel like you guys need this one to kind of to show proof of the progress that you've made this year?
Look, I think any win you have, you show proof of progress. But at the same time, you can win and not do it the right way and not really make progress. Like I say, you build it on a false foundation. I think we've made tremendous progress as a coach. And I look back at what we're doing, how we're doing it, the way we're in games. But, I mean, you definitely have to eventually start winning those games. And this is important for us, and I'm anxious to see us to go out and compete.
Left side, Zach, and then to the right, Suzanne.
Jimbo, obviously LSU, a lot of athletes on both sides of the ball. Receivers, they always seem to have very athletic receivers. So what is your secondary going to have to do well to help
Play
shut those
technical.
down?
We're going to have to mix things up. We're going to have to give them help at times. We're going to have to, be light in the box, be heavy in the box. I mean, you're going to have to mix looks up and try to confuse the quarterback as much as you can and those types of things. And and at times when you're in those one-on-one battles, you got to lock down and play physical and be technique free and make plays on the ball. You're going to have to make plays.
Right side, Suzanne, and then Gabe.
Jimbo, I know you said from the start since you got this job that Travion was a great special running back. When did you actually see it? Can you recall the moment? And
Well,
when
no, I
was
don't
it?
think there is a moment because I think we anoint guys with ability. I anoint guys with performance. And I think there's a difference. And I think performance over a period of time, not just a game or a couple games. It's a consistent performance weekly and throughout a year. And it's the first year. And then each week and how a guy practices and the things he does. And as you saw it accumulate, you thought you could be. But I've seen guys do that, and all of a sudden the wear and tear of a season physically break them down, mentally break them down, psychologically break them down, all those different things. And it hasn't him. So, I mean, over time, to me, that's where you're starting to see guys that you think are really special players, as they can do it consistently for a longer period of time, and he has definitely done that.
Right side, Gabe, and then to the left, Travis.
Is it safe to say you're a better pass defense when Miles Jones is on the field, or is that oversimplifying?
No, it's oversimplifying. I mean, he never played. I mean, sometimes we are, sometimes we aren't. I mean, but he played well, I thought, the second half this week. I thought he did a really good job and coming in and played well. So Miles will play. He's earned his right, and as I say, in the last, probably 4 to 5 weeks, because Miles had his struggles early in the season. I mean, it didn't happen, but as a guy who you love to see, a guy say, hey, I don't feel sorry for myself. I come back and work my tail off and practice well, and I got better. I got better in my techniques, understanding. I gained confidence, and he's playing really good football right now.
To the left, Travis, and to the right, Ben.
First, real quick, what's Otaro's status for this week?
We'll wait and see. We're on a wait and see basis, but he seems to be doing okay. But that we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, and how have you seen Travion? Is there any physical attributes that he's had on the field that has developed or gotten stronger through the season?
I think his run recognition as far as fronts compared to blocking schemes, understanding where holes are going to be. I think his eyes have gotten much better. So again, you say, well, if he can't see what to do, how do you transition it to your brain, to your feet, to your body to do it? And I think he's become a more disciplined runner. He always ran hard. I think he's understanding the schemes, what we want, and his eye discipline. So it's aligned with transition, and he's got that quick first step where he can see it, burst it, and get through that hole with great pad level. And I think he's doing a great job of that.
Right side, Ben.
I guess how does first off, just kind of to back up the OT question, how does the clearing process work for concussions? I mean, is it he gets cleared day by day? Is there a midweek?
No, it's daily what the doctors see, and there's progression in the suits they have them on, and there's a corpus within what they do medically, which I'm not, they just let me know when it is. We're out of that mix. I mean, it has to be totally cleared by doctors and things that go on.
Right, and the other thing is, what do you make of Derek Tucker's year? A lot of people thought he'd be a key contributor this year. It seemed like that hasn't happened. Why is that the case?
Well, I mean, I think he's played really good football. Just hasn't maybe significant on interceptions or things like that, but Derek's played really good football. He's banged up right now. And that's why he's not out there right now. He's healing up and getting better. But I think Derek's had a really solid year. He's had a good job on special teams, played well for us on defense. I mean, maybe there's not as many flash plays as people see, but sometimes as a coach, you want those plays, but at the same time, guys that do their job every day, and I think he's done a good job of that.
Front left, Justin.
Coach, we hear a lot about run and set up the pass. Can you do it the other way against a team like LSU? Can you pass well and then get Travion loose
People
later?
do it all the time. I've done it all. I've done it this year. I've done it in the past. You throw it, you run it. You got to have balance, and you got to attack people. In my opinion, you don't say, well, we're a running team, we're going to go run it. Well, sometimes that's not. You got to attack what you think you have advantages at, and then you feed off of that by how they make adjustments. And I think that's where game time adjustments and being able to see things as they go and how teams adjust to you is having it within your system. Then okay, if they do that, then we can go to this. If they do that, we can go to this. And I think getting the communication to the coaches and us on the sideline of how they're playing things, and we can make the transition in the calls. And there's no doubt that's why I think when you have balance. I don't think you run to pass or pass to run. I think you do what you have to do in each game, according going in to be successful.
Time for a couple more. Right side, Suzanne.
Hey, Jimbo.
Yes.
you worked at LSU for 7 years for 2 different coaches. When you flip on the film now, does it look like the same?
It does. I said that
I
this
know.
morning on a radio interview. I mean, the guys up front on the defensive line, you go, God, I got to play against those guys. I mean, we used to say, I'm glad I have those guys. The backers can run. They're long. They're athletic. And the secondary guys, I mean, back when we had Corey Webster and Travis Daniels and Randall Gay, and, I mean, you go on and on down the list. And then after that, they had Peterson and Matt, I mean, it's like once that got established there, and we had some, Clark, and, with the Pittsburgh now, had all those guys in the secondary. I mean, we had so many great players over there in that secondary when I was there. That Lauren Landry, I go on, Jack. I mean, it was a who's who list, and it does look the same. Offensively, we got big on that. We had Whitworth and Peterman and Ben Wilkerson and all those guys up front. And, the great linemen, we had Rudy Niswinger, and you go on and on. Teron Black. It goes crazy. We had those, and then fast receivers. We had, I think, 5. We had Clayton, Bo, Buster Davis, Skylar Green, Josh Reed, Devery Henderson, Benny Brazil, world-class sprinters. I'm probably leaving somebody out. JoJo LaFell down there in Houston. We had phenomenal guys. Tight ends and the running backs, Tofield, Dominic Davis, Joe Adai, Justin Vincent, Jacob Hester. Quarterbacks, we had first round. Every quarterback played in the league. Rohan, Josh Booty, Jamarcus, Matt Mock, Matt Flynn. All those guys, they were our guys during that time. And you turn it on, that's what it looks like. Great kickers, great, football players, man. Guys, Marcus Spears on the defensive line, all those guys. It was Lavalley's. It looks the same. They just changed. I keep looking in the back for those same names. It's funny, the body types. And like I said, you look at LSU in the last 15, 20 years, has as many NFL players as anybody. They've been as dynamic and as athletic as anybody in college football.
Brent, you wrap us up down front.
You remember all your rosters like that?
Yeah, same team too. Yeah. Well, hey, them guys are special. When you spend so much time with those guys and you coach the heck out of them and you get on them and you ride them, but you see them develop and how good they are now and what they're doing and the things that happen, man, it's you remember those kids, the relationships you get with them, you can't forget them. And we had some special young men, and we hopefully that's what's going to happen here for a long period of time.
Tyrell Dodson told us that Braden White he said he's a leader in the linebackers room, and he might be a guy. We don't know a lot about him, but he might get some playing time.
He will, and he does say on special teams. Getting him hurt in the beginning of the year was harmful for us. That foot. Listen, Braden is a leader. People respect him. Because I'm gonna tell you what, and I don't mean this in this, but there's nobody goes out there every day and lives, eats, and breathes and wants to stand for what that helmet means is Braden. Every day, the way he practices, the way he goes about there's not a drill. There's no walk through in that guy's mind. There's no half speed in that guy's mind. He puts his heart and soul into everything he does, and we're blessed to have him. That's for sure.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much.